Yo, what is up YouTube? James Baek here. Welcome back to another episode of VGC 2018 Back-to-Back Battles. Today, we're using the Mega Aerodactyl team once again with Xurkitree, Porygon-Z, Gastrodon, Tapu Bulu, and Incineroar. Let's get started and play some games. So, this team put in a ton of work in the last episode. If you haven't checked it out, highly recommend go check it out. Link in the description down below. But pretty fun team overall. Been playing with it for a bit. It's still pretty solid, or like pretty interesting of how it plays. Of course, Sky Drop is always going to be that risky move with Mega Aerodactyl. Mega Aerodactyl can't really take hits, so if I do get it wrong, I could be really punished for it. But if I do get the read right, I will be really rewarded. So always that interesting mon. Mega Aerodactyl does get many options: Tailwind, Haunt, Wide Guard, Sky Drop, which are some pretty solid support options. And of course it gets decent coverage, but you're not really going to use Aerodactyl as a sweeper because it's really hard to with like multiple Intimidate users in the format. And the best setup move I think Aerodactyl gets, actually, doesn't it get Sword Stance? I think it might get Sword Stance if I remember right from like, what was it, like Gen 3 Wi-Fi battles or Gen 4? I don't remember if it gets Sword Stance. I know it gets Hone Claws. Actually, I don't think it gets Sword Stance because I feel like if it had Sword Stance, people would have used it, right? For some reason, I feel like it does get Sword Stance. Maybe it does. Who knows? I don't know. All I knew is the only way I've ever used Mega Aerodactyl is the Sky Drop support set. Although I think this is one of the few times I'm actually using Tailwind with it. As we got our first opponent from Spain, 1760 rating, with the team of Pelipper, Ludicolo, yeah, there is a Landers variant, Tapu Koko, Metagross, and Tapu Lele. Very hyper offensive rain team. And this might be a game where Gastrodon can actually shine. So, how do I want to approach this matchup is my question. Now, I could have went Jolly Max Speed Aerodactyl because that actually outspeeds Ludicolo by 1 point, which could have been actually really nice here. But I didn't. So, this could be a little bit troublesome. But I do feel like if I just get my Porygon-Z in a good position, I can win the game. So I'll go Aerodactyl, Porygon-Z here with, what do I want in the back, I think is the question. I could go for Incineroar. Intimidate might be nice to have. I think I do need Gastrodon. Just don't know if I really want to bring Xurkitree because I don't think Xurkitree's too good here. I think Bulu to weaken the damage of Lele, or the Intimidate from Incineroar from Metagross and that Landers. So I gotta figure out which one I want to bring exactly. The fake out pressure is like really tempting, but I wouldn't get fake out most likely. I think I'm gonna go Bulu here. Yeah, I'll go Bulu here because it also weakens the power to Tapu Koko, which could get a bit annoying since I do think terrain control could be really nice. So let's see what my opponent is gonna do here. Not having fake out is just gonna feel a bit weird with this team. Yet if my opponent does lead like Ludicolo, for instance, I'm gonna go aggressive. Lele Metagross could be a potential lead. I do acknowledge that. So I have to be a little bit scared here. But it's going to be Pelipper Ludicolo, which is ideal here. So Pelipper Ludicolo into Mega Aerodactyl and Porygon-Z. And yeah, this should be interesting. A Fake Out could come out in a Porygon-Z and a Tailwind. That's definitely a potential play for my opponent. I'm not faster than any of these Pokemon. I mean, I kind of wish I was. I think Fake Out does go into Porygon-Z, though. I think it's very safe turn 1. And I kind of want to go for Rock Slide turn 1, because I feel like you might go for a Fake Out Hurricane into Porygon. I don't need Tailwind too much yet. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to protect Porygon-Z and go for a Rock Slide, because I do want to break a Pelipper's potential Focus Sash here, and I do think it's Sash Pelipper. And if you go out, let's say my opponent goes for the, what's it called? I don't think he would go for the Water type move turn 1. Because against a Gastrodon, that just doesn't sound right. So I'm going to protect here. And see what my opponent does. I think my opponent could go aggressive here and predict a Giga Drain. As we do see the Fake Out into Porygon. We'll get a Rock Slide off and get that little bit of chip to break that Pelipper's Focus Sash. And get a lot of damage on the Ludicolo. Jeez. That's a crit, that's why. And I flinched the Pelipper. So if it went for an attack in the Porygon, didn't matter. If it went for Tailwind, that could have been really bad for my opponent. But at this point, I'm feeling, okay, what can I really do here? I could go out on my Gastrodon here for the Aerodactyl, but do I really want to risk the Giga Drain? Not sure. I could go for another Rock Slide here because I think Rock Slide would be nice, but the problem is, can I set up against the back Pokemon, which I think are going to be the Lele. So, this is going to be concerning. I'm also worried about Giga Drain and the Hurricane, but you know what? I think I'm going to attempt to get Gastrodon in here and attempt to Z conversion. It's so obvious too. Like, it's really obvious that the Gastrodon's coming in. I just don't know if you Energy Ball / Giga Drain my Aerodactyl slot or you would target down my Porygon slot. We're going to see the Hydro Vortex though, so it does work out for me. I will be able to catch this Hydro Vortex, and now my Porygon will be able to set up. So, luckily I could have made an aggressive play and not switching out a Gastrodon in either slot, but I think this works out in my favor. So, get the Z conversion off with Porygon, and the Ghost Z conversion is really nice here because I do get to threaten Pokemon like that Lele and that Metagross. But of course, there could be a Tailwind coming out from my opponent, so I do got to be worried about that, as we will go for the Z conversion here and see what my opponent opts for. It is going to be the Tailwind here, so yeah. I think it's fine though. I think I want to double protect here. Yeah, I think double protect is just a fine play. Yeah, I think double protect is a fine play. Because yes, I could... Ooh, Ludicolo protects. Huh. Not the target I would think would protect, but that works out. We'll protect here. Protect my Gastrodon. Protect's going all around. As we see the Hurricane come out and the Porygon. So that's fine. That works out. So I think my opponent was scouting for the attack in the Ludicolo, which I respect. I could see Giga Drain, Hurricane into the Porygon-Z slot. It won't KO. Or I could see Giga Drain into Gastrodon. But I think I'm going to just switch on to Aerodactyl here and finish off this Ludicolo. Yeah. So this is turn 2 of Tailwind. The next one will be the last one of Tailwind. And I could double protect, and then I can threaten double knockouts potentially. So I think I'm pretty good here as Energy Ball is going to come out. Does target down my Porygon. That does a lot more than I was thinking. Hurricane's gonna hurt. Okay, no confusion. That was like the one thing I was really scared about. Okay, we get the Shadow Ball off into Ludicolo, which will be able to pick up the knockout. Great. So that's really nice. And then what is that last Pokemon? Well, what's the Pokemon that's coming out? If it's Scarfletta, I guess it could be annoying, but it's actually the Tapu Koko. Huh. I think Shadow Ball still knocks out Tapu Koko. It is a boosted, adaptability boosted. And yeah, this is one more turn of Tailwind left. I can go into Bulu here, I think, pretty safely and just protect my Porygon. Because of the fact my Bulu will outspeed this Pelipper 100% guaranteed, I can just fire off a Shadow Ball and a Wood Hammer combination into the Pelipper. And I don't want to double protect here and then risk my opponent going for like a... Rock Slide miss on the Pelipper and it gets Tailwind up and then I'm in a little bit of trouble. This play ironically would also cover if my opponent could use a Z move here. If my opponent didn't waste a Z move, or the Koko had a Z move, could have electric Z moved into my Porygon's Protect, but since my opponent doesn't have that option, I'm feeling pretty good. So Volt Switch is going to come out into the Porygon and a Hurricane into the Bulu slot. So very nicely played for my opponent. But again, I do not mind that. Oh, I actually survived. That special defense investment coming in clutch for my Bulu. As, yeah, I think you have to go for Thunderbolt in order to knock me out. Rain stops too, which is pretty good. I guess it really doesn't matter at this point. I don't think it really affects anything that we have against each other. Well, I guess it could have boosted my Gastrodon. Oh, wait, no, I don't have a Water type move. Yeah, it doesn't really matter at this point. I'll go for a Horn Leech into the Pelipper slot, and I'll go for a Shadow Ball into the Tapu Koko slot. Seems like a very safe play. And even if I don't knock out Tapu Koko, I put in range of Rock Slide, and I should be able to beat the Metagross with my Gastrodon. So Shadow Ball does knock out the Tapu Koko here. Nice. And Horn Leech will come out into the Pelipper slot and finish off the Pelipper. So Pelipper is going to go down. We are down to that last Pokemon. I'm guessing it's a Metagross, and Metagross is not going to appreciate this Porygon. So do knock out the Pelipper. As let's see what my opponent's going to do. How are you gonna respond? Metagross? Yep. It was Lele. Even if it was Scarf, I could beat it down at that point. If it was Landorus, Bulu probably just wins the game unless it's special. But even then, it would have to live the Ice Beam for my Porygon-Z anyway. And yeah, it can't be Gastrodon regardless. So we'll Wood Hammer, Shadow Ball, and that's gonna be good game. So Porygon-Z putting in some more work for us. I'm loving it. So I think Porygon-Z's biggest accomplishment was like, what was it? Top 8 at US Internets by Marcus Statter. Although I think there were maybe a few more regionals that Porygon-Z has cut. I think it was the Scarf variant that cut, or maybe it was the hard Trick Room set with like Trick Room Z Hyper Beam. But Marcus did use a Z conversion electric type, I believe. Yeah, I think it was electric type in order to get top 8 at US Internationals during 2017. So yeah, this is pretty fun. The Z conversion Porygon is a ton of fun. And it is putting in a ton of work. The ghost typing has been really nice for this team. And let's see if we can continue on. Hopefully we get to bring Xurkitree too. Also, a lot of people have probably been asking me, because I'm guessing a lot of people are going to ask me, why do I run Gleam over HP Ice? It's just because I feel like Como could still be a little bit of an issue if I don't play it right. So I feel like getting a Gleam off might be better than having HP Ice on this team. Plus 3 Gleam usually gets the knockout on Ments combined with Rock Slide anyway, so I don't think there's a point of having Hidden Power Ice. I'm not really too worried about Xurkitree, the like ground types like Landorus Variant and Garchomp, because I do have like Bulu, I have double Ice move, I have Intimidate, I have Grassy Terrain, I have Mega Aerodactyl with Rock Slide for chip damage, so I don't feel like I really need it. And Gleam could be really nice because it can punish switch-ins. So yeah, because a plus 3 Gleam is still going to hurt a lot of Pokemon in the format. So that is the reason why I do run the Dazzling Gleam on this team. It can also help against like Scrafty and stuff too, I guess, which is nice. But yeah, I think we're just going to cut to our second game though, so we'll be right back with the second game of today's episode. Alright, we got DW7 from Australia. Is that Austria or Australia? I actually can't remember. So we got a... I feel like I know this team. Pelipper, Mawile, Incineroar, Tapu Koko, the Ludicolo, and Gothitelle. Yeah, I've definitely played this team before, for sure. This is going to be an interesting one. So, what do I exactly like here? I kind of like Aerodactyl plus Porygon. I think that could work pretty solidly. With Gastrodon in case of the rain, yes, of course. And then Bulu? I don't know if I want Bulu. I think Incineroar can work too. I'm kind of weak against the Mawile plus the Incineroar. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Bulu in the back. Yeah, Z conversion's gonna be really nice here. Z conversion's gonna be really nice here. I don't even have to Z conversion, do I? I don't think I do actually. Well, it depends on the lead. If you could lead Rain here, you could lead Gothitelle, Tapu Koko, which I think could be a pretty solid lead for my opponent. What I'm thinking what I could do is just go for like something such as a... Let's see what's coming out here. But what I'm gonna do, it depends on what you lead. If you're gonna lead Gothitelle, Koko, I think that's like the scariest lead combination. I think everything else I can handle just alright. So Aerodactyl plus Porygon-Z will lead here against the what? Pelipper Ludicolo. Now I did play this before, and I think I'm still gonna make the same turn 1 play of just protecting the Porygon and just going out into my going for the Rock Slide, because damage is good against my opponent. I could see like Giga Drain Rock Slide here into my Aerodactyl, Giga Drain Scald into Aerodactyl, excuse me, or Energy Ball / Scald, because I think that would also work too. I'm not risking my Porygon-Z turn 1, so I am just gonna make this play. So let's see what my opponent goes for. I could also Sky Drop the Ludicolo, but if you get Tailwind up, I don't really want to make that play. So it just comes down to some stuff, as I will go for the Protect with Porygon. I think maybe I can play this matchup a bit differently. Go straight for the Hydro Vortex. Okay. Well, that sucks, because that's going to hurt quite a bit. That's going to suck. Yeah, here's Hydro Vortex. Into Porygon. So I could have just went out. I'm actually really surprised. That's really aggressive, but it does work out for my opponent here. So gets quite a bit of damage on the Porygon. Not as much as I was thinking it would. Rock Slide does come out. So get a lot of damage off of my opponent's team, and I flinched the Pelipper again, which is nice. Huh. Wonder if who you would Giga Drain here. I could see you Giga Drain the Energy Balling the Porygon-Z, but I could also see you tarring down the Aerodactyl slot here as well. I think I'm gonna Rock Slide and just get Gastrodon in. Yeah, because I don't want to lose Aerodactyl at this. I want to knock out the Pelipper, and I'm not sure if Energy Ball knocks out the Porygon. So I don't know what my opponent's gonna do though. You could Energy Ball here, but you're gonna Hydro Pump. Okay, it does target on my Aerodactyl, so that's perfect. Even if my Gastrodon went there, at least I got rid of the Pelipper for trade. Or I miss. Well, I guess I did get the flinch, but that's still a little bit annoying. Just a Hurricane. Okay, that works. That did a lot of damage, though. Alright, not the best case, but I will be able to just fire off Rock Slides and Protect, I think, with my Gastrodon. Yeah, I don't see a reason not to make this play. I guess maybe if Ludicolo has Protect, we'll find out here, but Pelipper is going to be the one actually protecting, which is alright here. So, okay, Pelipper going to Protect here, as Gastrodon will Protect, and what does Ludicolo go for? Energy Ball? Giga Drain? Ice Beam in the Aerodactyl. Solid play. I could have recovered there, but at this point, I think I can still win this game. Yeah, I think I can still win this game. Of course, I can't really set up with the Pokemon I want to now. That's alright, as I will be able to knock out the Ludicolo here. I wonder if it's fine if I trade both my Pokemon so I can get maybe my Incineroar next to my Porygon-Z and maybe try the Z conversion. But that makes the game a little bit difficult. Depends on the situation. Let's see who's coming out. Mawile probably coming out here. No, it's Incineroar. Well, that makes things a little bit interesting. Are you gonna Tailwind, or are you just gonna Hurricane my Gastrodon? You could also Hurricane my Aerodactyl if you anticipate Gastrodon switch. Huh. I think I'm just gonna go for a Rock Slide here. And how much do I need Gastrodon? You know what? I'd rather trade Pelipper right here for my Gastrodon, if that's the worst case. So let's see here. Fake Out gonna go out. It does target down my Aerodactyl. And is it a Hurricane into the Aerodactyl, or is it gonna be into the Gastrodon? Targets on the Gastrodon, which is fine. As I said, I don't really mind that too much. As I'll get my Incineroar in. I could go Porygon here, actually. No, I'll go Porygon. I think Porygon's fine. I think I want to Shadow Ball the Pelipper slot just for the damage, because Rain is going to be up. If you want to reset it, you have to switch out, but if it's Maul on the back, my opponent really doesn't appreciate that. You know what? I'm just going to protect my Aerodactyl, and I'm going to fire off a Shadow Ball into that Pelipper slot. As Incineroar is actually going to be the one retreating. Into Mawile. Okay. That's interesting. And what does the Pelipper do? Does it protect here? I would assume it protects here. Yeah, very solid. Okay, so I could have got the Z conversion off, and I could have maybe Skydropped the Incineroar. That might have been worth it too. Rain stops though. I think I think Pelipper has to retreat here. I do have an Incineroar in the back. I don't know if he would attack my Porygon here, but I think I'm going to go for Z conversion. And Skydrop the Mega Maul, because if I can Skydrop the Mega Maul, I'm actually in a pretty good shape here, I feel like. Oh, Pelipper doesn't switch out Incineroar. Okay, I guess it comes down to what do you do with the Pelipper then? What are you doing with the Pelipper? Sucker Punch coming out into Aerodactyl, okay. So Aerodactyl is going to drop here, and a Z move. I could have switched out my Aerodactyl into Incineroar, looks like. I thought you want to save Pelipper because of the rain, but maybe my opponent also has the Incineroar, so doesn't really fear it too much. Scald going to come out. No burn, which is good. Gonna go out into my own Incineroar here, and I think I'm gonna start playing aggressively. Because if I want to get back in this game, I do feel like I do have to play aggressively here. So I think I'll go for... Actually, there are multiple plays you can make. I think you could switch out Mawile, or you could switch out Pelipper. I'd have to predict the right one. I think you want to thread a Sucker Punch though on the field, but the problem is you could reset Rain though. I think it's more likely you reset Pelipper because you get Intimidate and you get to reset Rain and you keep Sucker Punch priority on the field. So you know what? I'm gonna knock off Shadow Ball the Pelipper slot. Okay, yeah, Pelipper switches out. Into Incineroar. And let's see what my opponent does. Protect Mawile, perfect. Okay, so I do get this play right, but I'm not sure how much it's going to benefit me in the long run. Because I will get a Shadow Ball off, which is going to do decent damage to the Incineroar, depending on its item. I think that's Assault Vest, so I do get to knock it off. I do get a Special Defense drop, which could help. Because I will get a knockoff into the Incineroar slot. Get rid of his Assault Vest right there. So it is Assault Vest. Now the question is what exactly you want to do with your Mons. Because I could see maybe... I could see Pelipper coming in for the Mawile. I could see you just double attacking my Incineroar slot. You know what? I'm going to try to Flare Blitz Shadow Ball. Hope my opponent goes for Fake Out Play Rough. But you're going to Sucker Punch. Okay, that's going to be a good game. So... was hoping maybe my opponent tried to double up the Incineroar right there. Was like, I think my only hope of really coming back, because the fact is that Sucker Punch that's going to be annoying. I could stall out. Maybe I could have protected Flare Blitz right there. But at that point, it's just like if you Fake Out Play Rough, I could potentially lose my... Well, actually, if Fake Out into Play Rough... Well, or Play Rough in the knockoff could have just prevented my Berry, and then I'd be in range for both my opponent's attacks, and I can't beat Incineroar plus Mawile plus Pelipper in the back. So, yeah, I don't think there was much I could do here. My opponent played this matchup very well. Played really aggressively the first few turns, but it did pay off for him or her. So we're going to retreat into Pelipper. And Mawile just going to go on the offensive, or is it just going to protect? I mean, either way, now you can Fake Out Scald. Do not get the Mawile, so not the mode I was thinking my opponent would have done, but yeah, so what I was really expecting here was maybe like Gothitelle, Koko. That's what I was probably fearing the most, because it felt like my opponent could maybe threaten the Porygon-Z always, but I guess you didn't know what kind of Porygon-Z set it was. Because electric is probably the most common, so I guess that flaw could have worked out. I was thinking maybe my opponent could go for like Gigavolt Havoc turn 1 and Trick Room, so I can't really set up, because the next turn you could go for like... Actually, no. I would still be fine, actually. No, you don't go with that play, because I was thinking I would Skydrop the top of Koko. But... Actually, no. If you protect the top of Koko, you could go for the Trick Room, then Helping Hand Gigavolt Havoc could threaten my Porygon. But then again, if I protect Porygon and then you go for a Then I go for, yeah, if I could protect the following turn, you go for Helping Hand Giggle with Havoc, and you waste it, and I Sky Drop, you could be in a bad position. So yeah, you probably wouldn't go Trick Room there. But yeah, I think there were a few plays I could have done better, like the switching out into Gashadon, I guess, turn 1. I just didn't know if my opponent was aggressively going to go for the Gear Drain turn 1. I guess I could have got Gashadon in for free, which would have actually been pretty nice. Missing the Rock Slide hurt, but I guess it doesn't really matter if my, since I did get the flinch, so I was already fortunate already. So otherwise, I think I had to play more aggressively in order to win that game. My opponent was just playing really well, calling most of the things I was doing right, as well as, let me see here. Yeah, because maybe if I switched out Gashadon, because I think Gashadon could have actually won if I intimidate the Mawile and I am able to recover off the damage at a certain point. So maybe what I should have done was save the Gashadon and went into what? The problem was I just didn't want to take damage with Incineroar or get my Porygon knocked out there. So no matter what, it was going to be a tough decision. And I do think I needed Incineroar healthy. I didn't need Porygon as much in the end game as I would have liked, but oh well. But I've also yeah, I guess if I Z conversioned actually, it might have, and Sky Drop the Incineroar slot, that could have worked too, but or protect the following turn Sky Drop, that also could have worked. But we got our next game with Landvisparian, Incineroar, the Tapu Koko, Amoonguss, Tapu Fini, and Gardevoir. So actually, this might be a longer episode. Yeah, this might be a longer episode. We'll roll with it though. We got Aerodactyl here. I think Aerodactyl plus Aerodactyl is a good lead with Porygon. Xurkitree is not that good here. I think I want to go Incineroar, and I'm thinking the Bulu, but because Bulu's grassy terrain could help me, but the problem is my Gashadon does really well against my opponent's Pokemon. Ice plus ground coverage is really nice against my opponent's team. Just not exactly sure if I want it. The grassy terrain could be really important for healing my Porygon, so I think I will go Bulu because the grassy terrain could make some very important calcs different. So we'll see here. The problem with running the Ghost version of the Porygon is that I am weaker to Incineroar than if I was the electric type, and maybe not having Scrafty either, but like Incineroar helps cover like some matchups that I didn't like with the old team, like Veraforn for instance. Going the Porygon mode against Lele Metagross combination was a bit difficult as well, I felt like. So I'm trying out Incineroar over the Scrafty like on the original team. So let's see what my opponent's gonna lead off here. Could be what? There are a few things we could lead off with. Gardevoir and Amoonguss, Gardevoir and Incineroar is also not too bad against me. It's going to be Aerodactyl and Porygon-Z though. Tapu Koko, Gardevoir. Ooh, this also is a really high pressure lead. This is also a really high pressure lead. Raises my Unnerve, which is better than adaptability, I think. So I could Sky Drop one of these Pokemon, but the problem is Gardevoir could potentially set up Trick Room, which would be annoying. Actually, I think I'd rather Sky Drop here. I think I'll Sky Drop the Koko and actually go for the Z move. I don't see a point not to. Because then I think I could get Bulu in safely. Because I'm thinking about like this game, like if I could, like let's say I go for Protect with 1, switch into Bulu. I'm thinking Incineroar could come in pretty safely, so I don't want to go for that because it'd be annoying to take down my opponent's team if my opponent plays super defensively. But if I go offensive right off the bat with my Porygon-Z, I don't need Porygon-Z to sweep. I kind of need it for damage, so my Bulu and Incineroar combination might be able to sweep, or Aerodactyl in the late game. So I'll go for the Sky Drop right here. And a Koko. If you go for Trick Room, this punishes you actually. So I'll go for this, a Z conversion. because it will punish you. And I did trap the Tapu Koko in for a turn, and if my opponent goes for Trick Room, the Tapu Koko actually won't be able to move the following turn because of how the speed tiers work. So we'll be able to get the Ghost type. Trick Room does go up. And I'm going to go for Shadow Ball and the Gardevoir. If you protect Gardevoir, that's fine. I'm not going to be able to hit the Koko at this kind of point in the game. So I'll go for the Shadow Ball here into Gardevoir. And if you go for Hyper Voice, we trade damage on Porygon-Z for the Gardevoir, which is pretty nice because I don't have a good switch into Gardevoir. So let's see what my opponent's going to do here. But I'm really liking my position right here because I'm threatening quite a bit of offense. As the Gardevoir's going to protect, which is alright here. As I said, I didn't really mind it. Shadow Ball is going to go off. And Sky Drop into the Tapu Koko. As now, Hyper Voice is probably coming out, but I can go Bulu, get rid of this terrain, protect Porygon. Because now I can get Bulu in. Bulu will be able to threaten my opponent's team. And then I think I can force Incineroar from my opponent's side to come in. Which means I can bring out my own Incineroar eventually. And even if you're playing this slow war, I think I'm going to win in the end game. Because once Trick Room's over, I threaten a lot of pressure with my Porygon. And I can always get my own Incineroar against your Incineroar for Intimidate. So let's see what my opponent's going to do. I will switch out into Bulu. And let's see what my opponent goes for. Probably Hyper Voice Thunderbolt or maybe a Gigavolt Havoc. Hyper Voice is going to come out. That's big damage. Thunderbolt going to come out, but should proc my berry, I think. Just barely misses my berry. A little bit unfortunate. Little bit unfortunate. Hyper Voice into Thunderbolt won't knock out my Tapu Koko. Won't knock out my Porygon. Z move into Hyper Voice might though, and that might definitely be a potential play my opponent could make. Huh. I was really hoping to get my berry even if he doubled up my Bulu slot. Now I think Incineroar, I might be forced to go Incineroar because I don't really want to take the Hyper Voice in the Z move. Oh wait, I protected my Porygon the following turn, so I think I'm going to go for Wood Hammer and Shadow Ball at this point then. Hope my Porygon could live maybe both hits from the Hyper Voice. I could also see Incineroar and a Protect here from my opponent, which is kind of what I was going to go for, as we are going to see a Tapu Koko switch out, so I think that's going to be the Protect. Amoonguss going to come in, alright. As Gardevoir actually just going to go for the Side Shock and risking it, wow. Jeez, that did a lot of damage. Wood Hammer going to come out into the Amoonguss slot. Which does proc my berry, which is really good here. Because I kind of do need recovery on the Bulu. And I will go for a Shadow Ball here into the Gardevoir. So I do get to knock on Gardevoir. That's really good. Because getting rid of Gardevoir is super nice. Alright, what's coming out in the back? Incineroar, potentially? Because now, if it is Incineroar, my Aerodactyl is actually looking pretty good in this matchup. Yep, Incineroar is going to come out, so that is the last Pokemon. How aggressive do I want to play? I mean, it's the last turn of Trick Room. I feel like my opponent, what he would do is, I think he would, personally, I think he would Spore my... Personally, I feel like he would Spore here, the Bulu slot. And attack my Porygon-Z. The reason why I think you do that is because, one, I could easily protect here and get like a free switch in. Bulu doesn't want to stay in, so the switch is pretty obvious. You know what? I am going to make that play. I'm going to go Incineroar. I'm going to fire off a Ice Beam and try and knock out the Amoonguss. Because even if I don't get this play right, I don't feel like it's the worst for me. But I feel like you should anticipate my Bulu to switch out and to protect here. Because I think it would be a very, very safe play for me. So I'm going to go in Incineroar, get this Intimidate off so I live the attack with Porygon-Z. Unless it's Darkest Lariat. and try to knock out the Amoonguss. But it's actually going to be the Spore into the Porygon-Z slot. So I do call it wrong here. But I guess that's not the worst case. Flare Blitz going to come out. Is that targeting the Bulu? Yeah, targeting on Bulu. Alright. I will take that. And I take a guaranteed turn to sleep with my Porygon. So that's not the worst case. Now I think I gotta predict. There are two plays I think my opponent can do. One is stay in with Incineroar, go for the attack in the Porygon, and a protect with Amoonguss, or maybe with Spore here. A second play I could also see is going out in the Tapu Koko for Incineroar and protecting Amoonguss. So it really comes down to what do I really expect here. But I think I have turns. Since I saw Bulu in the back, I'm not really too worried about Koko coming in. So I think I will just threaten. I'll just go for like a Flare Blitz into Amoonguss since I should be able to knock it out that range. And I'll fire off a Shadow Ball for damage. We are going to see the Incineroar switch out. If I do wake up, this is really detrimental to my opponent. So let's see. We also reset the terrain, so my Pokemon won't be healing too much, but not the worst case. Amoonguss does protect here. So I could have Flare Blitz to Koko, but I don't think it really matters too much. I'm not putting in range of anything special. As yeah, gonna stay asleep. Flare Blitz into the Amoonguss. I do need my Incineroar alive, and since I took the chip damage, I really don't want to risk it. I'll go back into Bulu here, and I'll fire off an Ice Beam into the Amoonguss slot. Since a Rage Powder should be coming out, because I don't think you want to risk your Tapu Koko. I think you want to try to get rid of my Incineroar. I don't know. You could go for like a second Spore. You could try to attempt to clear Smog if I stay asleep. There are multiple plays, but I feel like Rage Powder would be the safest option for my opponent, but let's get Bulu in. Grassy Terrain is going to benefit me, especially since Koko's already in range of where I need it to be. So Amoonguss is going to retreat, which is fine too. Incineroar is going to come in. That works. Now it comes down to what does Tapu Koko does. That's really risky. You're playing around with sleep turns now. I do say sleep, but I don't think it really matters too much. The damage on Incineroar wasn't too important. Gigavolt Havoc going to come out. And who is this targeting? Is this going to be my Porygon, or is this going to be my Bulu? I feel like you do target down the Incineroar. You don't have many options, but it's going to be my Porygon. Alright. The Porygon's going to go down, which isn't the ideal case, but it's not the worst, I guess. I could probably Sword Stance up. I'm gonna go my Incineroar here. Yeah, I'm gonna go Incineroar here. Get this Intimidate off. There are multiple plays I can do. One, I could just fake out the Incineroar and Woodhammer to Koko, but I could see my opponent going for a switch out with Koko into a hard Amoonguss and attempt to Flare Blitz. I think I don't want to. If I can knock out Amoonguss, I feel really good about my position, so I'm actually gonna go for the Koko here with Flare Blitz plus. Oh, Incineroar is gonna be the one switching out into Amoonguss. Okay. And Koko's going to protect. So I'm guessing my opponent's going to try to play a defensive game with switching out the Koko into Incineroar then the following turn. Let's see. You're probably going to Volt Switch though. I mean, I'm going to go for the Woodhammer and a Flare Blitz into Amoonguss. I'm not sure if he Volt Switch though. I think you should Hard Switch. But yeah, you're going to Volt Switch, which is fine. Into Incineroar. So, what is it going to come down to at this point of the game? Incineroar is going to come out from my opponent's side. The Tapu Koko is just a one Pokemon I'm a little bit fearing right now. I will be able to get a lot of damage onto his Amoonguss with Woodhammer and a Flare Blitz, but I probably activate a Berry. So let's see here. Flare Blitz. Actually, I might not activate a berry. Or I get a crit. Unfortunate crit, because I don't feel like that would have KO'd. We would have played with sleep turns, and I think I could have still won with Aerodactyl plus my Incineroar, because I think next turn I would have just protected my Bulu and gone out in my Aerodactyl, so I could maybe Skydrop trap a Pokemon. But yeah, that's pretty unfortunate, because that pretty much should seal up the game, I think. Yeah, I think that pretty much seals up the game. I can go on to my Aerodactyl. You're probably just going to fake out Bulu and go for an attack into my Incineroar at this point. And we'll go for a knockoff into Incineroar, I guess. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. We were probably going to play some sleep turn games and see who can get the better board position, but yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate for my opponent. But yeah, I'll get Aerodactyl in. I don't expect you to go for Thunderbolt into a Tapu Bulu slot. So get Aerodactyl in. Tapu Koko protects, which is fine. I'm guessing that means Flare Blitz is coming out. Or knockoff into my Incineroar, getting rid of my berry, which works too. Skydrop knockoff going to come out into my opponent's Incineroar, get rid of your item. That's a Figgy berry we're looking at. And I think I could go for... let's just protect and go for a Flare Blitz. Actually, I don't know how much I like that play now that I look at it. Although I should live one attack. Huh. This might have got a little bit awkward. Actually, I don't like my play as much. Thunderbolt gonna go hard in Incineroar. The reason I don't like my play is because now I don't know if Mega Aerodactyl lives a... I mean, Tapu Koko isn't the strongest Pokemon. I can go Bulu here. A Rock Slide's gonna really hurt down this Incineroar. I just don't know if it would be enough to pick up the knockout. You have to double up my Aerodactyl if you want to pick up the knockout. I think I'll go for Rock Slide plus Wood Hammer into the Incineroar slot, since Incineroar is probably the one that threatens my Bulu the most, and I could potentially pick up a knockout onto that Incineroar slot. Oh, that's close. This is a lot closer of a game than I thought it would have been. But yeah, I'll go for Rock Slide Wood Hammer into Incineroar at this point. Doesn't miss, which is really good here, so I get a lot of damage off. I probably won't finish off the job of Wood Hammer, I would assume. I mean, I could. I don't think Thunderbolt should knock out Aerodactyl, though. Yeah, Tapu Koko is pretty weak without the terrain. Wood Hammer does come out into the Incineroar, and it does finish off the job, actually, so that's going to be game. Yeah, because the Tapu Koko can't do much and can't do anything anymore. You could go for Thunderbolt Paras, wouldn't matter at this point, because as long as I connect my Rock Slides, I would be... Oh, my opponent ran out of time, actually. And we will win the game. So, would have been interesting to see how the if we didn't get the crit on Amoonguss, but I still think I was in it. That kind of just, like, stole away... Well, it didn't steal away my opponent's point, because I think my opponent could still have a chance. But, like, yeah, it just definitely gave me a huge advantage in that. So... we're going to go, I believe that was 2-1 today's episode. Hope that everyone enjoyed today's episode of VGC 2018 Back to Battles. If you did, please leave a like down below. Show some support, as well as you can check out the rest of my stuff down below in the description, such as my social medias, the side saves on the channel. The other stuff that I do provide, the previous episodes of VGC 2018 Back to Battles, and so on. Feel free to leave a comment down below, as I do read them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a great day, people, and until we battle again, I'll catch you around.